Hello and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And as the NBA Finals continues to unfold, we are having a heck of a series as it is now tied up 2-2. The Golden State Warriors take game 4 behind Steph Curry's massive explosion. So we'll talk about that and more in this game 4 recap. Tim, are you ready to go, good sir?
Hey, it's panning out to be just as exciting as we thought it would. So let's run it.
Dos a dos, Boston and Golden State. The Warriors took game 4, 107-97. It was close the entire way until with about 5 minutes left, Golden State goes on a 10-0 run and turns a 4-point deficit into a 6-point lead, which they then turned into a 10-point victory. In that run, the Celtics took the ball down 6 times and missed 6 straight shots. And Golden State scored the last 17 of 20 points in the game. We talked in the last video how important the fourth quarter was. That's just another example of it right there. The game was won and lost in the final minutes. And I think it was the most exciting game of the finals so far because the outcome was unclear until the end, and the best players were always on the floor. You know, like Jayson Tatum was on the floor for the entire time in the fourth for the Celtics. And on the other side, of course, we have to talk about Steph Curry and what he did. An absolute masterclass, one of the best performances of his career in the NBA Finals. 43 points, an explosion. He went 14 of 26 from the field, 7 of 14 from 3, and 8 of 9 from the free throw line. He also had 10 boards, which is a double-double. He is hawking down that elusive finals MVP. And if he keeps playing this way and the Warriors win,
they manage to win it, it's kind of going to be real hard not to give it to him.
He's going to get it. And with that 43-point performance, they all forgot about his ankle injury real fast because
I don't know where that went. Yeah, he looked real bouncy out there coming off of those screens.
And he was not shy about it. He was yelling, he was screaming, he was stomping his feet.
He was fired up.
And Steph Curry he put the Warriors on his back. Another thing that we talked about in the last video is the battle of the boards. The Warriors absolutely flipped that script with Andrew Wiggins getting 16 boards, Kevon Looney getting 11 boards off the bench, and like we previously mentioned, Steph Curry's 10. Draymond Green also had 9 boards, and despite scoring 2 points, he found other ways to contribute. 8 assists and 4 steals along with those rebounds, to go off of your point in the last video about Draymond needing to play better. Although it didn't show up in the stat sheet in terms of like the points, it was there everywhere else, and he found ways to contribute and make his play meaningful. I mean, the Celtics, they did their usual thing. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown scoring 20 plus and Marcus Smart contributing 18, but it wasn't enough on this particular night. And one of the main reasons why was Jayson Tatum shrinking in the fourth quarter. He only scored 1 basket despite playing the entire time. And he said it himself in the post-game press conference, he has to be better. And in the finals, despite his passing being really good, he's had 22 assists through these first 4 games, which is really good for him. He's shooting 34% from the field and doesn't look like the Jayson Tatum we expected coming in. So, Tim, what do we got from game 4 of the finals?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you bring up Jayson Tatum and his overall shooting performance. First of all, if you go back to what we talked about in the preview of this series, you got to wonder how much of it could just be sort of like the general wear and tear of just how much he's had to put up throughout this postseason. And I think another thing to note is overall, like the play of Andrew Wiggins and his ability to defend Jayson Tatum, he really did put him on locks a little bit. As much as you expect Jayson Tatum to be able to make some of those tough contested shots, he was giving him all he could handle, really. It was a very well-earned 23 points from Jayson Tatum. So it's like that 8 for 23 is like, obviously you want better if you're Boston and if you're Jayson Tatum himself, and he acknowledged that. But on the Warrior side of the ball, you brought up,
I mean, you got to give credit to Andrew Wiggins in that assignment because like we'd mentioned in the preview, like who will guard Jayson Tatum, who can stop him, and we thought it might be Draymond.
And it's fallen mostly on Wiggins throughout the series,
but he stepped up to the challenge. Yeah.
And I mean, you talked about Draymond and how much that we've brought him up over these past couple of games and his overall performance. And yeah, once again, did not have a great performance on the offensive side of the ball. But what we mentioned is that he would need to bring the usual playmaker Draymond in the other parts of the game, whether it be with the ball in his hands as a playmaker and assister on the defensive end with those 4 steals and racking up those 9 rebounds of his own. Is he found a way to still make himself a useful player while he was out on the floor. And the biggest thing is he only committed 3 personal fouls, which kept him with the ability to make himself useful and be an actual weapon for them out on the court.
Yeah, and when you only have 3 fouls, it allows you to play more minutes, and he logged 33
and
of
for
them.
Draymond, play a little bit more. Obviously, I mean, he's not shy from playing aggressively.
No,
but it allows you to play a little bit more aggressively, especially on the defense.
You can go a little bit more
for some of those
yourself.
steals. Yes. But one of the things that I think was interesting to notice about this game is the Warriors starting lineup. They decided, despite some of the success that they've had with Kevon Looney in the starting lineup, they were like, we're going to switch it up and go small ball this to start the game. And they started Otto Porter Jr. instead. And I think it was, despite them getting the win, now that's great and all, I think it was a little bit of a failed experiment because he went 0 for 2, both of those being from 3 with a rebound, an assist, and 2 points total. And that is arguably, I think, flat out his worst performance of the series. Usually he'd been coming off the bench and getting relatively limited minutes, but being a pretty proficient scorer, especially from the 3-point line when he was coming off the bench. So I think if I was Steve Kerr, I'd imagine they go back to start bringing him off the bench, see if he can get some of that playmaking back, that shot creation, because I think that'll be their best bet, especially to get offense off the bench in these last couple of games.
Yeah, he's been generally automatic from the 3 and off the bench. Zinger, staying hot with it. You knew it was coming. Yeah, I know. I'm awesome. I'll be here all week, folks. But yeah, like you said, it wasn't a great performance. 0 for 2 from the field, only 2 points in 15 minutes. Kevon Looney had another really good game. You talked about that efficiency.
Very solid, yeah.
Only 4 shots, but he made 3 of them. And he grabbed 11 boards, which was second on the Warriors. So Kevon Looney,
the Dubs had a lot of guys that were really hitting the boards in this past game. I mean, you talk about if Draymond was able to get his 10th, then you would have had 4 players in double-digit figures for rebounds, and that really is a big thing for them, on especially not allowing on the defensive end for Golden State, not allowing Boston to get that many second chance points, because when they limit those second chance points, that's what keeps them a lot more efficient on the defensive end, because I mean, you saw it kept Boston under 100 points, which was very big in this game, because this one is, I mean, we've seen it's been a lot of defensive battles. You're not having too many games that are in like the high 110s or 120s. So every little bit of these matchups are extremely important, as we've seen for these first 4 games.
Yeah, every point counts, every minute counts, every rebound, foul, turnover counts. When you have 2 teams that, put simply, refuse to lose. We saw it in game 3 with the Celtics. Their never say die attitude when they got down. It was the same thing on the other side with the Warriors, and Steph Curry refused to let them lose. So it's going to be a whole new series as it goes back to San Francisco for game 5.
Each team has now stolen one on the opposing team's court, which we did talk about as with my prediction of it going 7. I'm like, I really did not believe that the home team would win all of these games. And we've seen that any team can win on any given night, depending on how these matchups work out. And there's each one of them to take a look at is really exciting basketball to see. So as we head back to San Fran in the Bay Area, it's going to be real interesting to see which team is going to come up with the adjustments for these matchups in the next one.
Yeah, it's been playing out exactly as like you said. And if it does go to that elusive 7th game, I do want to note that it will be in San Francisco. Golden State owns home court advantage in these NBA finals. And who knows, that could be a factor. But for game 5 and the rest of the way, these 2 teams are battle tested. They're ready to go. And neither one is giving the other an inch.
Nobody's backing down in this one.
Especially
not Draymond.
Nope. No, not at all. But that's all we got for our game 4 recap. We've been recapping the whole series. If you want to watch our game 1 and 2 and game 3 videos, we'll have that available for you, as well as a lot of other stuff here on Running the Table. So if you like what we do, like and subscribe for more of our stuff, and we out.
Somebody go at Draymond so we can get him as a podcast guest after their next game.